one continues to pay for, you know, your debt.
Yep. I say it all the time. The generational wealth is generational. Generational poverty is generational as well.
Mm-hmm.
You get to choose which one you want to be able to pass down. It's very simple, right? So people just gotta, like we had this conversation before, you gotta make a decision as to whether or not you want to be the person that's gonna, you know, change that. Are you gonna be the person to continue that? And which one do you want to leave and pass down? And that's completely up to the individual, right? So I think that's very important. That is important too.
Okay. So now let's talk about getting insurance and that process. How do we go now? I've made up my mind. You know what? I see the benefits of insurance. I don't really know which one to get. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about, you know, the different insurances on which one to get and why you should get which. Okay. So let's talk about that process. How can I get insurance? Where do I go? Where do I even start the process?
Yeah. So today, you know, we have this might have been a different conversation 20, 30 years ago, when technology was, you know, still new and there wasn't, you know, social media and things like that. But today, your best bet, and this is just me being completely honest, your best bet right now, if you're looking for insurance, is to find some kind of broker. Right? Find a broker. And I'll tell you why. There's no bias, right? If I go to State Farm, guess what they're going to try and sell me? State Farm products, because that's all they have. So they're going to try and give you the best of what State Farm has, right? And what I do know about insurance is it's not one size fits all. Right? Which means I may go to State Farm, but what if State Farm doesn't have exactly what I need? And I'll go into, you know, how you determine that. But, you know, if you go to a broker, right, where let's say they work with 10 different companies, right? Mm-hmm. They can figure out what your needs are. And they can kind of search around, kind of like Expedia, right? And look around and see, okay, this kind of fits their budget, but this is what they need. Okay, this company has this company has that. And so it makes for a better product that's customized to you, if that makes sense, versus one particular company. And I know there are companies out there with commercials and, you know, we've seen certain commercials for insurance companies. So it's like ingrained in our mind, like if I need insurance, I'm going to go to this company because I've seen it so many times. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they have what's for you, right? And so when it comes to looking for insurance, I would say your best bet is to find a broker, find a broker that has multiple carriers if you're going to look for insurance. And then how do you figure out, you know, what do I actually need? There's a couple different ways that, you know, you can go about insurance. A lot of people never sit down with someone that actually goes through the proper steps, right? So some of the steps is, I've always found that people are either overinsured or underinsured, right? And when I sit down with people, I want to try to find whatever is just right, like based on their needs. So professionals today will use something called DIME, right? It stands for debt, income, mortgage, and education. And this is used to determine what is the minimum insurance need of a person, okay? So debt, right? You look at debt. How much debt does a person have, right? Do they have student loan debt? Do they have credit card debt, medical bills debt, right? You factor that in. You look at their income, right? Because in the event that something happens, let's say they get sick or even if they pass away, their family may be dependent on their income. So we factor in income. Now, according to LIMRA, right? LIMRA is pretty much like the head of the insurance industry, pretty much. And LIMRA says that it takes about a decade for families to pretty much get back on their feet after losing someone, to completely, you know, recoup. So the way that you determine, a part of how you determine that insurance need is you take the income, right? Maybe monthly. If you have annual, you could use annual. You multiply it by 10 years. So let's say somebody makes 50,000 a year times 10, they would need 500,000, right? They'd be able to live off of that for 10 years. And then you factor in mortgage, right? How much is left on someone's home? And then from there, you go into, you add that up, you add education. If they have children, how many children? How old are the children? These are all things that have to be taken into consideration. And once you get each of those amounts, you add them all up. And that's how you determine someone's minimum insurance need. And of course, there's all different types of variables in there. I've seen situations where someone maybe has a kid who's younger versus a kid who may be like 16, 17. And that kind of can shift the amount of money you put towards education. E stands for education for the kid. So yeah, that's pretty much how you could determine someone's coverage, like how much insurance do they actually need. So, yep.
Okay. So we're going to up all your debt that you have. So your mortgages, all of that, add that up, right?
Yep.
And then you said kids. Kids needs education.
Yep.
Add that in there as well too. Am I missing one?
Nope, that's it. So you combined,
okay.
Mortgage is also a part of the debt. So
okay,
that's the other one. And sometimes education and just the way how things are shifting nowadays. Sometimes that money that you leave for education may be used for a kid to start a business. Every kid's not going to college today. So yes, we put that money aside and, we account for education, but in the event that the kid says, hey, I want to become an entrepreneur, that check that's written to the family is in the form of cash. It's a check that you can cash out on. It doesn't necessarily have to be used for education. They could use it to start a business as well.
Okay.